Brendan here from Games, Brains and Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial for short, and it's Christmas track by track time as we are looking at one I hadn't even heard of. Brendan sent it over to me in a message and I went, hey, I'd never even heard of this. And I thought I'd dug through every corner of the Christmas rock and metal world out there. It is Vandals, the Vandals, Oi to the world. And you got to try and say that in the most Englishy way possible, even though they're a Californian band. Oi to the world.
Yep, very much inspired by the English kind of oi punk rock sort of scene.
It really does. It really does. But it is, of course, by the Southern California punk rock band The Vandals, released in 1996 by their label Kung Fu Records. It also did get re-released in 2000 with altered artwork and a bonus track, which is the one I did because I didn't know there was a bonus version. So I have got a bonus track. Did you do that?
What's the bonus track?
Overture.
Oh, yeah, I've got that as well.
All right, cool. Yeah. Funny. We'll get to the fact that that exists at the end as to why when I found that that was an added track, I was like, you're fucking kidding me. But we'll get to why. Right. So this is punk rock with a bit of pop punk, a bit of ska later on, but it is predominantly punk. So, and the tongue is jammed firmly in the cheek lyrically, a lot of the time, even musically. But there is stuff to enjoy here, I think, overall. We begin with A Gun for Christmas, a start that says a lot about what you're about to hear. Gunfire, sirens, chaos, and the sound of Santa wishing everyone a Merry Christmas. It leads into an initial messy punk rock rhythm, but with an unexpected melodic drop. It properly picks up and becomes something of a catchy punk number.
Yeah, quite similar on that. I thought the intro was fucking terrible. I was really regretting my choice. A few seconds in, I was like, excuse me. I was like, oh shit, what have I done? But once it starts properly, it becomes much more enjoyable. It's got a very old school sound, lots of energy and interesting instrumentation. It is messy. It is, of course, a joke, but it manages to stay quite fun and actually manages to stay quite Christmassy, weirdly, in the flow of the lyrics and music. So, which is what you want from a Christmas song. You know, don't want it to be called A Gun for Christmas and have no Christmas element whatsoever.
Admittedly, with that start, as you said, I was like, okay, well, is this what it's going to be? It's going to be Auntie Christmas, and I wasn't looking forward to that. But you are right; they pulled it back.
Yep.
Grandpa's Last Xmas. The raw and dirty vocals work best here. The rhythm is just okay, and the bells make it feel a bit more festive. It's a grower of a track for me.
I like this one. I actually find, like, generally when bands are trying to be funny, I don't know why, but I don't always find it very funny. But I actually thought this song was quite funny. You know, not like, oh my god, I'm rolling about on the floor laughing, but as in I was like, I like it a lot. You know, it's a fun song with a nice melody, a funny story, and a neat little solo. There's a stupid, silly stretching out of R at the end of it, which I could do without. I don't know why they have to bands to go and do something. It's like, oh, we've written a good song here, let's try and fuck it.
Yeah.
You know, but they hadn't. Other than that, you know, I just thought, yeah, it's a really, really fun little song.
Cool. Thanks for Nothing. It's punk rock chaos with a snarl and some serious snarkiness to the vocals. Catchy in that old school punk way, but they do something in this track that I hate. That every band, when they do, I hate. It's when they do that, they decide, oh, we've got to add fa la 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 because that's Christmassy. I hate it in this track. Ruins it for me.
Yeah, I don't mind this one. It's a very, very simple song. I found, like, you know, there's nothing too clever going on here. Good pace, good energy. It's got to come more of the anti-Christmas sort of ungrateful side to it rather than being a straight up Christmas song.
True.
You know, at times some really good screeching guitars and slamming drums, but mostly just a straightforward, sort of simple, pretty forgettable little track.
Yeah. All right. Oi to the World, the title track. I'm a big fan of this one. The spoken word intro and over-the-top melody is amusing. And when it kicks in, it's got real fire and actually takes the original Joy to the World melody and fucks around with it in a good way. It's much more fun. The chorus is a bit of a banger. Came down on Christmas Day. I know exactly what he said. He said, oi to the pump, and oi to the skins, but oi to the world and everybody wins.
Yeah, I was big fan of this too, actually. I thought this was really, really cool.
Yeah,
the story is great. You know, I like my lyrics a lot, so you know, a lot of the time I wouldn't say I read the lyrics to every single song I listen to, but if I'm starting to enjoy it and I'm like, oh, I want to catch a bit more of what he's saying here, then I might read them quickly. And the story to this one's fucking brilliant. Like, it really, really is really good. It's like about a skinhead and a Sikh guy, and having a fight in a pub, and then they have to try and get away from the old Bill, and the only way they can is together. And then they decide to go back into the pub at the end of it, having escaped the police, and have a beer together. And now it's Oi to the world, but as a united front, and it's just so stupid.
Yeah,
but like it's essentially a coming together tale of two different peoples who start off as enemies and end up as friends, which is kind of weird and Christmassy in a way. Lots of good energy, spirit, and enthusiasm is there, and it's a simple song with a catchy chorus that does stick in your head. And even now, just talking about it, I can still hear the chorus in my head clearly. So it's memorable in that way. So yeah, good job.
So I read afterwards that the Vandals tend to do, or did used to do, a yearly show in California. That was wherever they're from. That was this album in full. But beyond that, they never play any of the tracks live except one, which is part of their standard live setup staple. Can you guess which one it is?
Yeah, it is this one. I read the same thing.
Oh, you did? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right, nothing's going to ruin my holiday. This is a weird one for me because the total lack of harmony in this track is actually really appealing to me. It's very straightforward, but it's so messy that I ended up finding it quite fun.
Yeah, I like it. I like the mess of it. I think it's got loads of little energy, little moments. Kind of guitar kind of plays Jingle Bells in a way. But like you said, it's messy. Again, it's got a good funny story going on. The idea of this complete fucking disaster of a Christmas, but no matter what, he's refusing to let it ruin his Christmas. It's got a few different phases in it. It's quite fun to do, and the dude in the story is fucking nuts, man. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I did.
Okay, that's cool. All right, Christmas Time for My Penis. This is brilliant. An over-the-top ballad. The festivities are standing to attention here. It's utter tongue-in-cheek stupidity, but I love it. I never heard a Christmas track about a penis, but this is the go-to one in the future. The violin is so fucking good.
I owe you so much that it's hard to repay you for all the good times. It's Christmas time for my penis.
Yeah, it's strangely like better than it should be.
Yes.
Like this song. I find the fact that he addresses his penis as pal at the end of it just way funnier than that should be.
Yeah.
I found it absolutely fucking hilarious that he was calling his penis pal. It's not like musically or anything like that. It's not a great song. It doesn't have much of a Christmas feel to it, really. But I really like the humor aspect of it. And I love the fact that the humor in it is subtle. It's not just even because when you hear the song called Christmas Time for My Penis, what you're expecting is some sort of gross out slapstick kind of comedy stuff. With them all running around shouting willies and stuff like that. But it's much more subtle and So I enjoyed it. Yeah, it's good fun.
Yeah, you said at the start, it's better than it had any right to be.
Yeah.
I don't believe in Santa Claus. So obviously you've got to follow that ballad with a bit of angry punk noise. And that's exactly what we get here. For me, one of the noisiest tracks on the album. Its intensity works for me. It's good.
Yeah, I'm the same. It is high energy, a bit of aggression, a bit of attitude. Again, I think they do sometimes on some of the songs in this album. This is another one. I think like if it wasn't for the fact that it says something about Santa Claus in it, it doesn't necessarily feel like a Christmas song.
True.
As such, it feels like a bit of a kind of energetic punk song, which is what it's meant to be. But I guess if you're releasing a Christmas album, you should probably also be judged on whether or not you managed to make Christmas songs on that Christmas album. And while I quite like this song, I just felt this was one of a handful on this album that just, if you change the title of it, it could have just sat on the normal album and not really been that Christmas.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Okay. Talking about reading up on lyrical content, the next track had me doing the exact same thing because it is called My First Xmas and in brackets as a woman. And seeing that, I was like, oh shit. And I was worried it was going to be a problematic track, particularly as it was released in 1996. I'm like, oh, are we going to have a piss take of changing, of gender changing? But it's nowhere as bad as I thought, thankfully. It does have some iffy lyrical content, but I don't think it's offensive. I don't think it's meant in that way. I think it's fairly innocent. But aside from that, it's got energy, it's got pep, it's a decent listen.
Yeah, I was exactly the same as you. I guess it shows the way, in a good way, that people think like we try and think these days, because by the title, I was like, oh shit,
Yep.
is this gonna be a really horrific thing? And again, was worried then about the album I've chosen. It kind of makes you think like maybe I should look up the Vandals a bit more. Am I jumping onto like some sort of well-known Nazi band?
Yeah.
But again, like I don't think they're offensive in it at all. I do think it's silly.
Yep.
And I think that's what it is. It's innocent silliness, and it's not in any way calling anyone out at all either.
Yep.
In any way. So and that's why it was okay. Lyrically, it's quite funny. I like the way it kind of takes itself a little bit more seriously than it needs to sometimes, almost like trying to be a big, deep song when it's like you're clearly not. Slow, gentle chorus before jumping back into the punk sounds, and it's not fantastic, and it isn't Christmassy feeling very much again, but it's a decent song.
Yep. Okay. Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairies. Now, I mean, my heart sunk when I saw this because I hate this melody. I hate every cover I've heard of it. It does nothing for me. So I was hoping for something really spectacular here, and I simply don't get it. It's a short blast of heavier noise, but it's boring, and it's just the same melody I've heard a million times before. I forgot about it directly afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any particular hatred of the original melody, so that wasn't really a problem for me. So I quite enjoyed it for what it is, just a punk kind of rocked up little album interruption.
Yeah.
I just found it weird that it was on the album because like there's been no hint of any kind of cover up to now. It's 100% original, unique music, and then have that, and then it just goes back to being like their stuff again. I found it an odd choice to put in there, other than like I said, a fun little album interruption. But
yeah, you are right.
Like, oh, okay, that's done.
It's not very long either, and it's a weird place for an intermission too.
Yeah.
Okay, Here I Am, Lord. I'll admit I was not expecting ska, so this was a fun one to listen to. It's not festive feeling at all, but it's a catchy enough tune once you get used to the vocals. They do take a little time to get used to because I found them particularly loud and jarring in this song. Like the mix, they're way heavier on the vocals than anything else in this track.
Yeah, I wouldn't really like this song. This is an actual hymn, apparently. Here I Am, Lord. I did look this up.
Right.
So this is a cover of it.
Ooh.
But I don't know the hymn, so I've no fucking idea like whether it's a really clever take on the original or anything, because I don't know the original. Musically okay. Again, the ska stuff kind of makes an arrival. Again, it's got the punk stuff. I found voice really weird in this song.
Yeah,
I don't know why it kept sticking on me, and I'm trying to pick through what I've written to make sure like I'm not saying anything you shouldn't do. So if I just cut it down, all right, he sounds a bit special, sort of like he's just left the dentist after having a lot of work done.
Right, like his mouth still
sort of swollen up a little bit, and it just doesn't sound like anything like the rest of the album. I couldn't quite get what he was trying to do. I thought maybe that was meant to be like the joke, because like it's a traditional hymn and he's taking the piss or something like that, maybe. But if it was a joke, I didn't get it like either way. So it just left me like feeling a bit like, oh, okay, it's not a song I'll go back to. I didn't really enjoy it.
Agreed. Christmas, but Christmas, for some reason, every letter separated by a hyphen. I have no idea why, because that's not even an acronym. You would use full stops if it was an acronym. But there's nothing wrong with this one. Intense punk rock energy with the usual tongue-in-cheek feel. The bouncy rhythm works, the raw guitars sound good, and the vocals are strong here. But it's also got good festive feels about it.
Oh, man, I feel sorry to you already. I apologize to you in advance for what I say now. So I wasn't particularly impressed with this song. I didn't really like it at all. I was kind of impressed with the album up to this point, because for what they are and everything, that hadn't been any really stupid, gross out, look how rude we can be sort of songs.
Yep.
And while this has a nice rhythm and flow to it, and the little guitar flourishes are great, I just don't like the lyrical content much. I get they're trying to be humorous, but it would have been funny when I was 12. And that was my problem with it. It's like, oh, look at us saying the rudest words we can possibly think of. And I was like, maybe try and spend a little bit more time focusing on your musicianship. Fucking 12-year-olds.
No, fair enough. I don't know. I quite liked it, but there we go. Penultimate track, Hang Myself from the Tree. All right. How joyful. A long and depressing track that sucks the warmth out of Christmas, but does shine a light on the reality for some people. That does make me like it a lot. It's not shying away from what can be a very difficult time for many people. I think the harmonizing vocals at the end is particularly powerful.
I will say goodbye. No one will cry. Christmas goes on without me.
Yeah, it is fucking dark, and it?
Yes, it is.
But like you said, and I wrote the same. It is sadly a reality for many people. I recognized the tune at the beginning of the song, but I couldn't figure out where from.
Nope,
I kept re-listening to it, but I was like, don't know where from, but I recognize this.
I even left a space in my wording. If it came to my head, I could quickly jot it down.
It's surprisingly deep. Like, you know, forgetting about the content and that, like actually even just musically, it's quite different, I find, to the rest of the album in that, like, it's a dark topic, and even though I guess they're kind of, I don't think they're doing it in a jokey way, but you know, they're not necessarily, I don't know, they're not trying to draw attention to like suicide and stuff like that. I don't think purposely. I think they're just putting it out here on the album as a real life kind of event. But it seems like it's more effective, I guess, than maybe they would have expected. But I found it's personally very effective, and I mean, the biggest proof of that is the fact that I felt like absolute shit after listening to it.
Yeah.
You know, any Christmas spirit that had been injected to me across the course of this album, it literally kicked out of me with the last song on the album proper. You know, before the additional track. And I would imagine, like, you know, if you put this on at Christmas, it's all good fun and all that in there, but then literally, you know, imagine sitting around with your family or whatever, and then like you listen to the album all the way through, you're probably having a bit of a laugh up to this point, and then I think you'll just sit there quietly sort of staring at the floor afterwards like shit. So obviously it's weird because even though it's that dark and serious, it is got Christmas feeling to it still, strangely, and I think that's quite a weird thing actually. But I agree with you, the epic kind of gang vocal style at the end is absolutely fucking phenomenal. And it's a really, really clever song, which is a little bit out of keeping with the not always clever rest of the album.
Particularly if you look what came in order, you know, the fact that we got that tongue-in-cheek stupid one before, then this.
Yeah, it's very strange, like actually just even, it feels so odd on the album, but what it does show me is that the Vandals, aside from all of this stupid stuff, and it's not all stupid, don't get me wrong, there's catchy stuff on here, there's some good music, there's some clever ideas, and there's some shit ideas. But it shows that they actually had, like, there was more to this band, like that, because that song's actually quite a powerful track, man.
Well, this is the first track by track in many years of doing this that we've ever covered by the Vandals. So my knowledge, and I've never been a fan, so my knowledge is very little.
Yeah, but if you listen to this album, right, which we did for the first time ever, I wasn't expecting a song of this, not just this type because it's dark, but also it's a quality song, actually. It's a very, very good song. And I wasn't expecting it. I was expecting like 2, 3, 4 songs in. I kind of, as far as I was concerned, I knew what the Vandals were now. You know, all the way through. And this kind of made me think like, oh shit, maybe there's another side to them as well.
Agreed. Very, very shocking moment. So that's where the album originally ended. Now, Overture is what was added later in 2000 as a bonus track. Now, when I listened to this, I didn't find that fact out afterwards. So my next words are written as though this was actually the original last track. So where my puzzled nature makes more sense now, I know. So Overture, it's a super festive ending that almost feels out of place, bearing in mind what we just got. However, I really love it. It's playful, fun, energetic, melodious, and catchy, but it's also completely instrumental. A strange finale, but I'm not complaining. But obviously now I know it's not the finale. It was a bonus added track.
Yeah. I mean, I agree that it felt out of place, and especially like you said, like after what had just kind of gone down. It is fun. It is nice. Got like a nice jazzy kind of feel to it. Got all the Christmas shit thrown in, man. Every little bit that they had left in the studio they hadn't used to date. Every bell, every chime. You know, it's just fucking throw it all in there. Rattle everything you can. And it does, and it's a nice Christmassy kind of blast. But the reality of it is I didn't enjoy the song purely because I was still, you know, there's not enough Christmas spirit in the world to bring me back up from hanging myself from the tree.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, and actually, this probably, I didn't know this was a bonus track either. I thought this would have been a better way to start the album.
Yeah.
You know, to get the Christmas spirit going and then go into the album. But coming after Hang Myself from the Tree, like you know, I kind of pictured it like, you know, like I said, if you're sitting around with your family, you've been listening to it, enjoying it, having a good laugh, drinking beers and it's all Christmassy and all that. And then you listen to Hang Myself from the Tree and we're all depressed and like just staring at the floor now. This comes on next. It hasn't changed the fact that we're all still feeling shitty at all. You know, so I was more kind of in line to turn the album off now and go and put some Doom on or something like that. You know, so it is good for what it is, but it's just weird. It's weird on the album. Very
Agreed.
Placed.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, we got a lot of tracks to choose from. So, top 3, you can go first.
Okay, weirdly, Christmas Time for My Penis is in there.
Yep.
Nothing's Going to Ruin My Holiday and Oi to the World.
Oh, wow. Okay. We're 2 out of 3 on the same. So I've got Oi to the World. I also have Christmas Time for My Penis. Now, I did something here that I've never done before, which is I highlighted 2 others in bold and left a question mark next to each of them. And the idea was I was going to decide on the moment which one worked based upon our discussion to see if it kind of took me over the line, because the 2 tracks that I couldn't decide between were Hang Myself from the Tree and Overture, because they were so opposite. They both felt Christmassy, but they were both so fucking opposite that I was like, how the hell do I decide? So based upon what we talked about and based just because of how shocking it is, Hang Myself from the Tree, I think, takes it. Yeah,
I can understand why.
Yeah, absolutely. Do check out this album. It is of, I wouldn't even say it's of an era, because although it was 1996, I think it could have been released in the mid 2000s, the mid 2010s, and you would still hear a similar sound. It is Oi to the World by the Vandals. Check it out. Let us know what you think in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com, as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Tumblr. Go to Patreon to help us out over there. That's patreon.com/gbhbl, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?